What's up everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Diamond and today I want to talk about how do you trade in a car that's not paid off. This is a pretty simple and straightforward process, but it can get complicated really fast. And to avoid being ripped off, there's 3 pieces of information that you must walk into the dealership with. We're going to cover all of that and more in this video. If you haven't done so already, now is the time to click the subscribe button so that you can join the community. And the one thing I want you to keep at the center of this entire discussion is that you're not trading in your car. We have to think about it as if you're selling your car to the dealership, because that's exactly what you're doing. So this is your personal property that you have decided to sell to someone. So you maintain positive control throughout the entire transaction. It's no different than if you decide to sell your living room couch. You listed it online, you had a price set, and you know what the lowest price you're willing to take. And you would never let someone call you up and say, hey, I see you got this couch on sale. It's going to be $100, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to pay you $20 and I'll be there in 15 minutes. You just tell that person you're crazy and lose my number. And I need you to keep that same energy when you go into the dealership. The 3 pieces of information you need is how much you owe on the car, what is your car worth, and without negotiating, what is a dealer willing to pay you for that car. Now, how do you go about getting this information? How much you owe on the car? You have to contact your lender and request a payoff quote. And they'll send you a 10 or 15 day quote, and it'll have a number listed for each day. And what this is that's the exact amount of money you need to send the bank to pay the loan in full on that day. The second piece, how much your car is worth. Well, you can get this online. You can jump on kellybluebook.com, or a lot of people prefer to go to the National Automotive Dealer Association website. That's NADA.com. You put in the information on your car and you're going to get 3 numbers. You're going to get the retail value, the private sale value, and the trade-in value. And what you're going to see is the retail is up here, trade-in is down here, and private sale is somewhere in the middle. And that's because trade-in is wholesale, and what dealers do is they like to buy at wholesale and they sell at retail. So what you're looking for when you go to trade in your car is a number that at least meets the trade-in value. And just like when you decide to sell your couch, the lowest amount you're willing to take is the trade-in amount. Now, the third piece, how much is a dealer willing to pay you without negotiating at all? Now, it's easy to get this. If you have a CarMax in your area, you can just drive in and request an appraisal. They'll walk over the car. It takes them about 45 minutes, but they'll come back with a written offer saying, this is what we're willing to pay you for this car. Do you want a check? Yes or no? And that's good. But if you don't have a CarMax in your area, you can jump on autotrader.com and request the instant cash offer. And what this is you just put in the information about your car, the condition, the make, the model, the mileage, and they'll spit back a number on what your car is worth. And you can take that offer to one of their participating dealers, and as long as everything matches up to what you said in the questionnaire, then that's what you're going to get. That's the price that they're willing to pay you. And this is great because this is now your baseline. You know what it's worth, and without negotiating at all, you know what a dealer is willing to pay you. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best price you can get, but it is a good baseline. It's a good starting point. Now you're armed with your 3 pieces of information. Now, Car Buying 101 tells you that you should be negotiating the price of your car over here, lock that in place, then you bring in your trade and you negotiate your trade separately. And this is absolutely correct because these 2 transactions are completely separate. Just because on the same day that you decide to sell your car to the dealership, you decide to buy a car too, that don't mean that these 2 transactions are connected and they should be combined. So never let a dealer combine these 2 transactions because they are completely separate. Now, once you have your price locked on your car, you negotiate your trade. Now, how do you actually trade in the car? Because you still have a loan on it. Real world alert, this actually happened. I was at the dealership getting some warranty work done and decided to talk to a salesman about possibly trading in my F-150 for a Mustang. So I asked the guy, how much would you be willing to give me if I traded my truck in a day on a brand new Mustang? He went away and he came back a little while later and said, I'll give you $20,000. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that I didn't trade in my truck. I actually paid it off in 34 months and now it's mine free and clear. But this did make me curious. So after I left the dealership, I went to CarMax to get one of those appraisals. and they came back with a quote of around $28,500. Now, that's a big difference because this is the exact same day. And that's why having this information is important, because had I took that guy up on his deal, I would have lost out on $8,000 that day. And this happens to people all the time by not being armed with the right information. But this is not going to happen to you, right? Because you're subscribed to my channel and you're watching this video. So before you ever stepped foot in a dealership, you knew exactly what your car was worth. And you knew what the lowest amount you were willing to take. So you lock in your trade price. And now you're ready to proceed with the transaction. It's at this point that people are going to find themselves in one of two positions. The first one is that you owe less than what the car is worth. And this is great because now you have equity in the car, which means you're going to walk away with some cash in your pocket or some money that you can apply to your new deal. And if that's the case, the process of trading in the car, even if you owe money on it, is pretty simple because the dealership is going to fill out the paperwork, you're going to sign everything, and they're going to contact your lender and cut them a check. Now, here's what I want you to know. You are 100% responsible for your existing loan until it's paid off. So do yourself a favor and track that old loan until you see that that balance is zero. And better yet, you get that letter from them saying this loan has been paid in full. Because if the dealership that you're doing business with don't handle their end correctly, meaning they don't send the payment or they fat finger the amount and send the wrong amount or send it to the wrong account and it don't go through, well, you're still responsible. And you may not realize this until a month or 2 months later when your bank is calling saying, hey, where's our payment? You're late. And now you have to fight with the dealership to make it right. But they don't have the power to correct your credit report that's been impacted by these late payments. So do yourself a favor and track this loan and make sure that it's paid off before you wash your hands of it. Now, the other situation you may find yourself in is where you owe more on the car than it's worth. That means you're upside down. You have negative equity in the car. And this is where knowing how much your car is worth before you go into the dealership is going to become absolutely crucial, because even if you get what it's worth, you still owe your existing lender more money than you're going to get, which means you have to come out of pocket with this money. And if you let the dealer pay you way lower than what it's worth, you're in trouble. Because when that dealer offered me $20,000 for my truck, at the time my loan balance was around $29,000, which means if I took that $20,000 deal, I would have had to pay $9,000 out of pocket. Now, dealers are great about hiding this money and making it seem as if all you need to do is just sign your name and everything is all good. But these folks are not magicians. The way that they can hide this negative equity, and the reason that you're able to carry negative equity into a new deal, is because a lot of banks will allow you to finance up to 120% of the value of the car. So that means you can buy a $30,000 car and take out a $36,000 loan, which means if you have $6,000 in negative equity, without paying anything that day, you can just sign some paperwork and then walk off into the sunset with your new car, or drive off into the sunset with your new car. But you're negative $6,000 on day one, and cars go down in value, which is how you ended up with negative equity in the first place. And now that $30,000 car that you owe $36,000 on the first day is going down in value each and every day, which means the next time you go to trade in your car, you're not going to be $6,000 in the hole. You're going to be 8 or 10 or 12. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger every time you roll this negative equity in from one deal to the next. Just know that if you have negative equity, it's not going to disappear. You have to pay that in one way, shape, form, or another, whether it's today with a check or over the next 5 or 6 years with interest in your new loan. You will be left holding that bag. And if you want to know how to pay off negative equity and pay your balance down faster, then check out this video I did about principal payments versus monthly payments and how you can use principal payments to help you lower your balance faster. But it don't matter if you have negative equity or positive equity. Once you finalize your deal, the process to trade in your car and get your existing loan paid off is exactly the same. If you have any questions that I didn't answer in this video, be sure to put those in the comments section below, and stay tuned because you don't want to miss my upcoming video specifically on how to deal with being upside down in a loan and how to get rid of negative equity. So make sure that your notifications are turned on, and until next time, I'm Diamond. Peace.